Yo,
What's up, man?
what the fuck is going on, man? Nice to meet you.
Likewise, dude. I'm trying to do this on my laptop and it got all fucked up. So I'm just gonna do it on
No
my phone.
worries. So you're good now?
Yeah, I'm good. Thanks.
Hell
Man.
yeah. Dude, how about that fucking package? Holy shit.
Yeah, dude. Why'd you eat the worms? That shit's fucking gross.
Because I like to get cool merch.
That's true.
And
That's
that shit didn't
true.
taste like anything. It was just crunchy.
Well, free shit's always good. So if you gotta eat a couple bugs, fuck it, right?
Hell yeah, dude. Fucking Mortuous rules, and now I'm getting a Mortuous tape, so.
That's awesome. I actually did their logo like back in the MySpace days, I think.
Oh, fuck yeah. Like
That's
the one that they have currently?
Yeah, I don't think they've changed.
Wow. Yeah, hell yeah. Well, let's jump right in, man. Speaking of logos, you have fucking crushed logos for years now for so many prominent bands in death metal. And it's incredible, like, just how many bands, like, if you think of, like, any death metal band, current death metal band within the past couple of years, chances are if you're thinking of something that, you know, is prominent in death metal right now, you know, you're going to be on that roster of people that have made logos for them. Like just off the top of my head, there's like Warflurch, just like recent people that I've met that I'm like getting going with, but like you did the Fix My Face, Dyskinesia, like everything for Cody, right? You've been doing some good shit for Cody.
Yeah.
You did the one for Ruins for our buddies over in Gut Void.
Yeah.
Dude, so many. It's just like I'm not gonna rattle them all off, but it's really awesome to talk to someone that's done so many logos for, you know, so many sick bands. So that aside, let's talk about. Well, first of all, so you said you were an hour before. So where are you right now? West Coast?
Yeah, it's 4:30. I'm like an hour and some change outside of Chicago.
Oh, hell yeah.
So I'm like in the sticks, kind of. But yeah, not too far away. Chicago's got an awesome death metal.
Dude,
just a
I've
hub
been
of
seeing
fucking
some
killer
fucking
shit.
killer looking bills lately.
Yeah, and it's
shit
always
at Reggie's coming up. The Molder show.
Yeah, I'm going that tomorrow. Yep, going that tomorrow. But death metal's, well, Chicago's always had all these amazing bands from Chicago that I think Chicago gets missed with, like LA, New York, and Florida and shit.
Yeah.
But it's just a massive hub of awesome death metal with like Cianide and Master and Cardiac and all those like awesome bands that have been around for fucking ever. Never broke up, have been still doing the same killer shit. It's just, it gets overlooked. But it's cool living outside of that, you know?
Yo, what's going on, Riddick? Thanks for joining us, man. So yeah, I mean, seriously, like Chicago, and I think like another city that I can think of like just killer fucking death metal right now, especially, is Denver, Colorado. Like, yeah, dude, crazy fucking bills I'm seeing. I just saw a Primitive Man, Spectral Voice, and Oryx show that was announced. And Oryx are homies from way back when I was touring with my old band, Sagittacia. And then like, just Spectral Voice is one of my favorite bands in death metal right now, and Primitive Man are just like the most fucking disgusting, hateful doom. Like, it's just, it's such a crusher of a show. I wish I fucking lived there. But yeah, dude, this is like such an honor to talk to you. There's so much talent coming from you in so many different facets, and I wanted to talk to you about. Let's start with where you got started with things. Like, how did you get going with doing art for these sick bands?
Yeah, I appreciate the props, man. I mean, your stuff's amazing too. So just to be
thank you.
Given props by fellow artists that I actually admire and follow is pretty fucking rad.
Thanks, man.
I started, I'm gonna date myself, probably 20 years ago, roughly. I did a lot of stuff for like up and coming local bands, or bands that were already established, but I was just getting into like underground death metal and like maybe death metal that's not so quote unquote mainstream.
Yeah.
But how I got started was just doing shit for friends that were in bands, local bands like Moral Decay and Runes of Ruin, and then I started doing stuff for Cardiac Arrest. Just free shit, just to get my name out there.
Sure.
Then what I would do back in the day, before the internet, I would have to print out flyers and hand them out at shows.
Nice.
And I didn't have Gruesome Graphics moniker at the time. I just had my name, so it was just Nev. And I drew up like some rotting head and like, oh yeah, Nev does art, and like it was Nev does art for bands or some shit like that. But
hell yeah,
it had my MySpace address and all this kind of shit like that. So I would hand that out, and I just went to bars and drink with like a lot of the bands and just got to know people, and that's kind of how it got started.
Yeah,
I always wanted to do death metal art as soon as I saw Vince Locke, which I'm sure everybody, when they saw Cannibal's artwork, like I need to do that, or I wanted to listen to that type stuff. So
sure,
that was the catalyst for me to being what I am now. Is just Vince Locke is just a massive hero of mine. Still to this day, he cranks out such amazing shit. But
that's rad. Yeah, man, I think like it's super admirable. Like when I talk to like people that have been in this this grind for more than 10 years, it's like you're pulling from the old school ways of doing things, where like pre-internet, like you said, and that's like the real fucking deal, like just doing it for the passion of the music, and then from there just kind of rolling with the way things are turning out with like social media. Like I'm sure there's been quite an adjustment, and I'm sure it's probably been very helpful. Like when did you get involved on Instagram? I'm just curious.
I don't even remember it, dude. Like I was really hesitant to get on Facebook. I think my wife got on Facebook before I did. Like I was still clinging on to MySpace because it was so like where I, cut the meat, cut the cloth, whatever you want to do. Like that's where I kind of became more socially active in that regard. And then Facebook came on, like, it's too much shit. Like I don't have all these social media channels. And then it just came to the point where like it's either shit, sync with MySpace or go back onto Facebook, and then Instagram became popular.
Yeah.
And being a visual person, I flock to Instagram more. Like I'm on Instagram a lot more just because it's cleaner, less ads, and like we could do this type of shit too. And I think it's a great platform for artists of every ilk, whether it be toy design, death metal, whatever that is. I think it's a much better platform. So like I sit on this all day,
Yeah, it's definitely the best platform to share artwork, and for lack of a better idea of getting exposure, but with all the different ways that Instagram algorithm holds back from certain eyes seeing things, and it's frustrating. It's not the most amazing app in a general sense, but it's probably the more tuned to just catering for artists like ourselves. But I think it was probably easily scoffable back when when Instagram started becoming a thing after Facebook, after MySpace. It's like, all right, another thing I gotta you have to go with the times, and I think it's interesting to me to know because I feel like you can see who has been on Instagram longer. There was a bubble where when Instagram first started, whoever jumped on it really soon after that, pretty sure they have a lot more followers because there was more eyes to see their stuff before Instagram kind of privatized things. They started giving tiers to important things for different eyes to see them, and it's just been a ridiculous clawing at trying to get people to see your fucking shit anymore. But,
I know it's fucking tough. I look at all the stuff that and it's weird because you could buy followers now, you could buy likes, all that kind of shit like that. But I tried a couple times just to sell either pieces or toys or just original shit. But I'm not gonna spend $30 for 100 more people to see my post. It's a case. That's so much beer I could be buying. I'm not fucking that kind of money, dude. No way. But so it's tough.
So many hams. Right on. Well, yeah. I mean, I think that it's been kind of a crazy ride, with all these different social media things. But I think a lot of people are not willing to jump to the next thing or whatever. I remember there was some weird app that popped up that some people were reluctant to jump onto, and some people did, and it was like they were thinking this was going to be a better alternative to Instagram.
I remember that. I forgot
Do you
the
remember
app.
that?
What
I
was
don't
the
remember
name
what
of
it was
it?
called because it flopped so quickly.
Like
and,
within a week,
you know,
it was like dead.
Yeah. I don't know what happened, but like basically, yeah, I was like afraid to like get too involved with it, spend all this extra time with it, and I'm glad I didn't because whatever. Anyway, that said, yeah, dude, you just have, there's so many different things that you're talented at that I'm seeing that I want to talk to you about. So first of all, I wanted to commemorate you and congratulate you for getting that Eddie tattoo.
Thanks, man. Yeah, it's still healing, but it's a big moment for me because I love that fucking album. It's
Hell yeah.
Somewhere in Time is just amazing.
Hell yeah.
I needed an Eddie at least before I hit 40, so we're at 39. It took me 39 years, but we're there.
Nice. Yeah, so for any of you that don't know what I just said, I said he for his Eddie tattoo, it's Eddie the mascot, the official mascot of Iron Maiden.
Yeah.
So all right, let's move on. Things are a little jumbled in my notes here, but I wanted to ask you how long it's been since you started Cetus.
So Cetus is a toy that I helped design with this guy, good dude. His name Brandon. He lived in Japan. He's actually, I think, in the Air Force or military. I think it was Air Force.
Whoa.
He was stationed in Japan. We kind of connected via social media. I think it was actually Instagram of all places, and we kind of got this idea to create a toy, a soft vinyl toy. It was about like 5 years or so. It took a while. There was a lot of uphill battle. He did a Kickstarter. I coughed up a couple bucks. I did a lot of like package design, like header cards and stickers and buttons. He did a lot of the financial up front. But it's been about 5 years.
That's cool, man.
It's been pretty rad. I never thought I'd have a toy that I at least helped design, let alone sell. So that's one off the bucket list, right?
Sure.
I may do another colorway. I don't know yet. It's kind of tough right now, especially with COVID and shit. Getting stuff from Japan's super expensive or it's really delayed. But it's all made in Japan, which is amazing too. It's not like 3D printed here. It's done in traditional
way.
Yeah. Molds and soft vinyl and stuff. So yeah.
Nice. So speaking of Japan, I know that you're a huge fan of kaiju. And for those of you out there that don't understand what kaiju is, it's Japanese monsters from film and TV. And a lot of toys have been made in honor of those in that kaiju realm, right? So,
yep.
And I wanted to ask you how long you've been collecting toys. Like, it looks like you've got a huge collection.
Yeah, a little bit. Well, I mean, I've always been a fan of any kind of. I grew up in the '80s. I was born in '82, so like I grew up in like the apex of gross ass toys, like with Mad Balls, Blurt Balls, Mad Scientists, all that kind of shit like that. All that weird shit I was always like gravitated to, and Godzilla, of course, and Ultraman were among those. So, and all that fascination started when I was really young. But I started hardcore collecting probably about 15 years ago when I got like quote unquote a real job, so to speak, when I was not working retail or any kind of stuff like that, when I had money to burn. I'm like, shit, I'm going to buy all these awesome toys that I never could afford when I was a pup, you know? So about 15 years, I've been really hardcore doing it. And you're always still learning. Like, I'm not an expert on it. There's still shit that I never knew was made, or different colors or whatever it is. It's a super fascinating thing to be doing. It's very similar to like vinyl collecting for like metalheads, you know?
Yeah,
I didn't know this was like a limited press or whatever it is, you know?
Right, yeah. It's definitely been popping up lately as I've been getting more involved with different death metal bands. Surratt, Andrew, MV's got, from Coagulate, he's got...
Andrew's a great dude. I know that. He's a killer dude, man. He's a big kaiju freak, too. I've sold him some toys.
Yeah, the dudes from Oxygen Destroyer, Matt
Jordan's a great guy.
All these dudes that, like... and I don't have any toys, but I've always found it interesting, like the toy collection that I see some of my friends have. I got a friend, Ross Bradley, from my old band that had like all these crazy toys, and like I totally missed the Godzilla like frenzy of like all the movies that came out from Godzilla. Like, I didn't enjoy that as a kid or like growing up. So I'm late to the party, but that's saying
Never too late,
I'm late
man.
to a lot of parties.
Never too late, dude.
Hell yeah, yeah. But I'm definitely trying to watch some old school Godzilla shit with like Mothra and like, yeah. I mean, it's definitely like something of interest to me. But it's yeah, it's just always like pretty cool to see other people's crazy collections of toys. And it's awesome that you were able to make your own toy. Like, that's fucking, yeah, like you said, like a milestone. Like, check it off the bucket list. That's sick.
Yeah, for real, man. It was pretty crazy. I mean, we had plans to do more toys, like more sculpts, designs, but again, like COVID happened and life happened. But
yeah, sure.
If I just can only make this one toy, like I can go to the grave pretty happy. So
yeah. Well, dude, I mean, yeah, that's sick. I'm stoked for you that you did that, and I'm sure that that's not the end of Cetus. I'm sure that you'll be doing.
We'll do some more stupid shit with them, I'm sure.
Right on. I wanted to talk to you about the different mediums that you use, because I remember when I first introduced myself to you, we were talking about your medium of choice, and you told me that you kind of bounce back and forth to different things.
Yeah.
You've got ballpoint pen, which is something that I think you do probably less, but you also do like, I mean, I don't know. Don't let me tell you what you do. I'm just saying, I think I see less ballpoint pen, but I'm not sure. Like, I've seen some blue ballpoint pen, I've seen some black, and then of course you have like your. You said you have like an iPad with like an Apple Pencil, and that's like the way of the future. So I just wanted you to touch on, your different mediums. Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, you nailed it, dude. Like, I grew up as like a doodler. Like, I was always doodling in class, so I'm so much more comfortable with like Sharpies, pencils, ballpoint pen. But as like, the kind of industry standard, quote unquote, evolved, I switched to digital. I do creative for a living. So I had to switch to digital just for my profession anyway. So I'm like, fuck it. I'll try to bring it into my hobby and death metal artwork, and it works really well. I would say it's probably like 60% digital, 40% traditional. Okay. It's always going to depend on A, the idea, B, the timing, and C, like the band, right? Like some bands probably look better as far as digital. Some bands want that raw, really gritty and quote that death metal shit. Like, I love doing that more, but I'm still comfortable doing digital. Word. Especially, I think you were talking to who were you talking to about the logos, like the low res PNG logos? I forgot who that was. I
think I was talking to Lucas Court of Shoggoth Kinetics.
That's what it was. Like that fucking resonated so hard with me, because I've gotten so many like JPEGs that were taken with like the Nokia phone. Hey, put this on the cover. It's like, no, I'll redraw it. This is garbage. But in a digital sense, like, I can do that really quickly, but I wouldn't do that if I had to do it with like a Sharpie, Yeah. So that kind of stuff is easier, but I can do either one. I definitely like ballpoint pen stuff better, but it's a challenge to do ballpoint like on a shirt. Like, I mean, that prints so well unless you do it like 20 by 30 and it's, vectorized or whatever. Right. But I definitely love that raw, shitty, Druid and math class fucking death metal stuff. Like, I love death metal demo artwork. Just in general. Like, the bands may be terrible, but the artwork is so bad it's amazing, just because someone was doing that instead of getting educated in school. Like, that to me is fucking awesome.
Yeah, totally. No, I see a lot of new artists, myself included, that are like emulating that old school style, but in a way that's like kind of new and like interesting in their own ways. But yeah, man, as far as digitizing things, I want to share something that I'm a little embarrassed about, but I was super like, I just couldn't believe that this whole time I've been uploading images on Instagram at 300 DPI, and I don't know if you knew this, but if you make them 72 DPI at and the image quality is 12, not 8, which is like in Photoshop, that's like your default. Yeah. That's a better picture. It's going to be the clearest way that you can put on Instagram. I didn't know that. Instagram already like converts at 300 DPI to 72, but there's like sometimes there's noise and grain in that, and there's like it might not be pretty, you know, it might not translate well, but if you really want the crispest fucking image that you can get on Instagram, apparently all it took was a YouTube fucking search.
I don't got time for YouTube, man. I don't got time for YouTube. I didn't know that. Yeah. I tend to use like, I just upload what I send to the band, even if it's 300 or bajillion like pixels or whatever, just because if it comes out blurry, it's usually blurry on Facebook and not Instagram, right? Yeah. And I just don't want assholes to steal it from the band and like airbrush their logo out. So like whatever's on there, it's for that purpose. Yeah. The one thing that I've struggled with in the past is anytime I use like a red, it gets really weird on Instagram or Facebook. It gets weird on Facebook.
Facebook is fucky.
I don't know why.
The translation is different on Facebook. It's very frustrating. Yeah, very frustrating. I could go off on a little list of like things that I hate about Instagram and hate about Facebook, but in reality, like we're expressing ourselves, putting shit out there, and we have them to thank because that's just the way it is. But yeah, like it's a super big pain in the ass to not be able to like tag certain people or like re-edit your fucking photos without re-sharing on Instagram.
And that's the biggest piece of shit ever. Like I can't just change the photo. I gotta redo the whole thing.
It's so fucked. And then you lose the people that saw it. Like
then you lose your likes, and it sucks that I have to worry about losing likes. Like
this is so lame. It's the lamest fucking anxiety there is.
I know. It's terrible. It's terrible. It's terrible.
Yeah. Okay, so real quick, Mark Riddick asked, Nev, when you're working with analog, what size paper do you illustrate on?
What's up, Mark? Mark's amazing. Known him for a long time. He's an amazing illustrator. As far as sizing goes, I start out 11 by 17. Yeah. And depending what it is, I can shrink it down just using a T-square. If it's 10 by 10, 12 by 12 for a cover. I haven't done any traditional shirts in analog for a long time. I used to do logos. Analog back in I used to do a lot of stuff for like Razorback and all that kind of shit. It was done like the first Acid Witch logo was done with a Sharpie, but I haven't done that for a logo in a long time just because again it's really I don't have a scanner, so like it's hard for me to translate that. I gotta go somewhere.
Wait a minute, hold the fucking phone.
I don't get a fucking scanner.
You don't have a scanner?
I don't fucking have a scanner.
Where do you go to get stuff scanned?
Well, if I have to scan my wife's work, they got a scanner. I'll go to my office. I work in the city, so I have to take a train. That's another part, too. Like, digital, I can take an hour-long train ride and do digital. So I have 2 hours to do, like, nothing but freelance, nothing but artwork, right? Yeah. So I can do that on a train and then come home and drink with my, my wife and hang out with my kids. So that's, like, the other benefit of doing digital stuff. But, yeah, sometimes I'll go scan it at work, or I'll have my wife scan it because she's amazing and she'll scan it for me.
Damn, dude. First of all, like that brings another question to mind. Holy shit. Before we jump, I just have to give a shout out to my fucking scanner. Large.
You're better than me, dude. I don't have a fucking scanner.
Fucking UK Mustec. That shit is obscure. It's not something you can just find all the time, and the driver I don't even think exists anymore. I should just get a scanner. I'm just too cheap. I gotta buy toys and beer. So all right. So that aside, you said you work? Where do you work? I thought this was your full-time gig, dude. No. Uh-oh. We froze. Hold on. Hold up. You froze. Okay, here we go. Good? Okay. Yeah, I wish it was my full-time gig. Maybe sometime in the future when I'm like quote-unquote retired, I can go live in the mountains and draw, album covers, but it ain't. I'm actually an associate creative director at a candy company. Really weird, right? But I do this like that kind of stuff for a living with like brands, marketing, big bets, partnerships, all that kind of stuff like that. I've been doing that for a long time, and I think it's another just creative outlet for me. Yeah. But they're both kind of in the same vein, right? Like you have a brand, you have a brand and a band. It's the same shit. So I pivot back and forth. But this is a hobby. I wish I could do it full time, but especially with COVID, it ebbs and flows. Like you'll be busy for like a month and a half. Yeah. Then sometimes you're like, shit, I don't have anything to do. Which is fine. It kind of gets your juices refreshed and all that kind of fun shit. But yeah, it's super important to stay like diligent and on top of things when it comes to like keeping this as a business. And I'm a part-time associate at fucking Home Depot, so I hear you, man. Like,
Yeah.
But if I wasn't part-time, this wouldn't be happening as much. You know what I mean? Like, I definitely wouldn't be able to do these cool, like, little hangouts on live. Like, there's just so much shit that I just have aspirations to do in my life for a full-time job to life suck me away from these passions. So, yeah, I mean, dude, everybody's different, but that's another thing I got to commemorate you on. Like, holy shit, like, when artists at your stature, like, when people are pumping out such creative, sick work and they have a job, like, outside of that, that is, like, huge, dude. Fucking hell yeah, that rules.
And I appreciate that, man. I think it really starts with my wife's amazing. She's been super supportive on both sides of the spectrum. I've noticed since I met her, which has been about 20 years, and she's always like, you know, maybe you should take a break, take a week off, and go back to drawing dead stuff, or like maybe just you're feeling cranky, go draw something dead, you know. So she definitely has been, you know, a supporter of whatever I do. So that's a huge thing. But
yeah,
I also think it's like an outlet. Like, you know, if work was super frustrating, I can come home and, oh, I got this logo I got to do for, you know, whoever. Like, I'm gonna go jam whatever the fuck and just sketch.
Hell yeah.
I think as I've gotten older, which sucks, I haven't sketched as much, just because I'm always just like doing something for somebody, which is great. But I've never really taken the time to just have a sketchbook and fill it up.
Yeah.
You know, that's one thing I definitely want to work on as a creative, is just always to sketch, just get those ideas out, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, definitely, dude. Riddick just said, I love how your scanner has all these stickers. I just, I gotta say, Mark, for you real quick, my whole fucking art studio is stickers and posters, and I got some of you on here. I got fucking all sorts of shit going on. I got stickers and flyers everywhere, man.
That's awesome.
Shit on the fucking ceiling. Anyway, yeah, I mean, it keeps me super inspired. But okay, so that's sick, dude. I mean, seriously, that's a really big thing to take on, you know, a job and do this artwork that you crank out. Like, it seems like you do things really quickly. Is that am I wrong in saying?
No, it's pretty quick, man. I think just because I've been doing it so long, and I have like mental shortcuts, and I don't do a whole lot of sketches for bands as far as like, here's 4, pick one. Right. But do like 2 or 3 and say like, hey, these 2 suck, we're gonna go with this one, or like sometimes we have that dialogue, so it's really more focused. Yeah. And then as I, you know, sit in my basement and crank music and drink, I could crank out a cover in probably 2-3 days if I really tried. Yeah. I think the longest I ever took was maybe a week. But that's because I want to do it, right? The drive is there to have this amazing piece to share with a band, get that band to love it, get paid. Yeah. But then also have them put it out to get like all that accolades and the camaraderie, like, oh, Nev crushed it again, or like, you know, like whoever the fuck is doing a new album. That turns new commissions. That's always, that's the thing. Like, having something to post, instant gratification. That's how it keeps the fucking wheel turning, man. Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, no, that's super awesome. I mean, like, seriously, it's not easy to crank out work like that. Like, it's not always easy for me to pull out of this, you know, I don't have a bottomless creative well all the time. It's almost like it has to like fill back up. Yeah. Like, pour it out on one piece, and then it has to fill back up, and like 100%. I have the same thing. Sometimes I'll go like I said, week or so without doing anything. Yeah. And I feel like, what am I doing? I've drawn the same dead skull over and over again. Yeah. But then you look at it like, but that skull's badass. Why don't you just keep drawing it? Yeah, you know? Yeah. I mean, like, I think, like, I get in my head too much. I hit walls because, like, I don't want to necessarily just fall back to doing just a skull or, like, a skeleton. But I don't really feel like I'm up to snuff on skeletons and stuff, too. So I kind of want to do that more. But, like, I want to do, like, different things. And I think I get, like, way too psyched out about like what it is that I want to accomplish with each piece. Yeah. And it just like, I can never keep things simple. But I think that's something to definitely touch on here. Like, whoever's watching right now, and if you're an artist, especially like aspiring to do more things for bands, for yourself,
like, keep it simple. You can always build from there. Like,
Yeah.
you could draw a fucking skull and do so many different things with it.
Yep.
Or so little, and like it's still gonna be fucking cool because it's a skull.
Yeah, and I think that's a doodling part. Like I too, dude. If I fall in the same trap of, there was another artist, I forgot his name escapes me, but he posts like inspirational things for artists, right? And I think one of the things was just let your hands do it, and then don't think about it. So if you just have a pen in your hand and just again start doodling, just fucking doodle. Who gives a shit what it looks like? Just keep creating, because something will spark out of those doodles. Like you're having an inner brainstorming session with your own brain, you know?
Yeah.
But I definitely, my creative well runs dry a lot. It does. It really does. And I went to like a quote unquote art school, but it was a shitty one. Like I didn't pay attention. Actually, I went my wife there, and I ditched a lot of classes to go hang out with her, and now we're married. So that was the only thing I got out of it.
Oh yeah, you were looking at different
I was looking at different artwork. Yeah, 100%.
You had your heart set on different things.
Yeah, exactly. But like, you know, I had life drawing.
Wish I paid attention a little more in school.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like I had life drawing and shit like that, or perspective. Like I don't know perspective. Like I suck at that stuff. Like anatomy. What bone is this? I don't know. It's fucking broken. It's rotting. That's what it looks like. I don't care. But
yeah,
like
I'm in the same boat, man. I'm learning more, but yeah, it definitely like isn't something that like stuck with me. I didn't like retain a lot. I worked really hard on my senior year. Like I really I like stayed late all the time, got beer, fucking stayed overnight, like really went for it at the end. You know, at the end of my schooling, but I was a fucking shithead and just like didn't. And I think it was also like ADD played a part of that too.
Yep, 100%, man, 100%, dude.
So I think we can definitely be on that same. I think we're on the same level there. Like anatomy is different. It's difficult for me, and I find there are so many people that do anatomy so much better than I am doing. Like yeah, I'm gonna chip away at getting better at that, but like I'm fascinated by like, you know, microcosms and fucking things that are like close up, like macro pictures of like different nature. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that shit is creepy and cool and alien, and like that's enough for me to be stoked about art forever. Like
yeah, I'm the same way, dude. I always like the weird. I always like dead stuff, and I'm not trying to be funny. Like just the fact that like rotting is not. As far as nature goes, rotting is beautiful. Rotting is going back to the earth. It's recycling. Like from a human perspective, rotting is like gross. It's not, but it's a part of nature. So I was always gravitated to that type of stuff because there's beauty in that, right? It's like I was dead shit.
Yeah.
In the 5th grade, I started drawing like Mortal Kombat fatalities, right? And it just snowballed from there into this chasm of gore, I guess. But I've always been just more fascinated with that stuff. The one thing I really wish I was better at was like landscapes. And like architecture, and not like a building architecture, but like castles and fucking like Castlevania, like all that kind of I suck at that stuff. Like, oh, here's a castle. Nah, a bunch of dead shit in the background or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. I'm definitely that way too, man. I'm drawing like a structure right now, and I'm keeping it as simple as fucking possible.
I know. I've rejected bands like, hey man, can you do this awesome like, you know, architecture thing? And it's like, I would love to, but I'm just balls at it. I am not good at it. Like I'll try, and we could try to work it out. But I think the last one I did was for Nucleus. I think it was like their EP or their first EP or something like that. And I just
Nucleus
did it like they're great dudes. Like I just did it as an exercise for myself, and I posted it. And then Dave was like, actually, that's pretty rad. Can I buy that? I'm like, yeah, here, a couple bucks. But that was the last one I did, and it looks great, but I never did it again.
Right on. Dude, we almost played a show here in Philly with Cathelius, Nucleus, us, and I think, and someone else. I can't fucking remember off the top of my head, but it got canceled because of COVID.
That sucks.
That would have been such a sick show. But yeah, Nucleus is sick. Unspeakable Acts. And then I think, did they jump from Unspeakable Acts to a different record label?
I don't remember. I know they did that split with, I forgot who, on Dark Descent, right?
Oh, is it Dark Descent? Maybe? Yeah. Okay.
I don't know if they're on Dark Descent. I can't remember.
Yeah. No, that's possible. Yeah. I think Unspeakable Acts is like a brother, like a side thing.
There's so many labels that work together now. It's like, I can't keep track.
Yeah.
They're all great, but I can't keep track.
Word. Okay, so we talked about kaiju, we talked about toys, we talked about multimedia. I pretty much covered everything on my list here, but what's your favorite? What's the favorite? Like, what's one of your favorite pieces that you've made over the years?
Oh man,
I know there's a lot.
yeah, I honestly, dude, I have no idea. I'd say two things. One, any project that or bands, like whatever you want to do it, and just keep going with it like that. Those are always the best, right?
Do
like,
your thing, yeah. But
when I think trust your creativity.
I think that's going to be the way that like artists agree, like across the board, is like whatever commissions are, do your thing.
Yeah, no, those are always the greatest. I think one of the more is funner a word. I'm gonna use funner because fuck it. One of the more funner projects I did was with Travis and Cattle Decapitation.
Oh shit!
It was a downtime for them. They were, I think, writing, or they couldn't tour, or whatever it was. And they were writing, and they wanted to do essentially like a T-shirt line for several tracks off of different albums. So we did a T-shirt design for every track.
Oh
and
shit!
I think they put it on. I forgot what merch. I forgot which one it was, what merch label it was, but it doesn't matter. No. But we did that, and that was really cool because it was like all a part of this big launch, like a fucking T-shirt launch, I guess, or a fashion launch. So that was really cool. I've known him a long time, and he's another one, a person that's like, he's very focused on the creative because he's came from the startup of like Cali death metal and all that kind of stuff like that. So he knows that half of death metal is visual representation, right? Like if you have a shitty cover, no one's gonna buy your album, or if you have a shitty shirt, no one's going to buy it. So he's another one that says, like, we'll pretty much let you do whatever you want, but, like, let's go the back and forth of creation. So that was a really cool one.
Yeah. So someone just on here, Vinyl Victorian, said, Nev, your art you did for my dad's band, fucking Druid Lord, was sick.
Oh, Druid Lord. I did a split with them. Druid Lord's great.
Hell yeah. Druid Lord rules.
Yeah, Druid Lord's great. Yeah, I did a split with them with my old band. It was actually went on like a 7-inch and a CD. It was terrible, but it was super fun, and he's a really good dude. I think I did the logo, their first logo, I think. I can't remember the logo.
That's sick. Hell yeah. Yeah, Mark said
Pete, that's his name. Pete's a good dude.
Pete Slate. Hell yeah.
Yep, Pete Slate, that's it.
He's probably the one that's on the Instagram too.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. So what's going on lately? What are you particularly? Well, first of all, I know that like when artists get asked what you're particularly excited about or whatever, or what's going on with like new projects, like there's a lot that you can't really share. Is there something that you can share that you can touch on that maybe you like just posted about, or?
I mean, I could talk about them. Like I did a couple of shirts for the guys in Bog. I'm gonna fuck up the name. Saints, whatever the fuck. Cody and Devin. Yeah, there you go. I did a bunch of shirts for them, so that's coming out soon.
Nice.
Did a shirt for. I did the tour poster for Black Dahlia, and then there's gonna be a shirt for that coming through.
Oh, you did that for the Undead Black Dahlia?
Yeah, the one that's like the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles like sewer cap cover.
Yeah.
I did that one, and that's not like gore stuff. That's more like my Ren and Stimpy ripoff shit. But that was a fun one to do, and we did a T-shirt for that. So
nice.
There's a lot of cool stuff in the works, but I shouldn't say it's frustrating. It's like there's always schedules, right? Like where they want to release certain things. So like that's like the anticipation of having that come out because you want to share with everybody. But there's a lot of cool stuff on the horizon that I did. It's just a matter of time. And I think because of COVID and everyone's kind of hesitant to tour, like it's going to be a bit till all that stuff starts popping up.
Yeah, that's cool, man. Yeah. Who is Vinyl Victorian? What is your name? Daughter or son of Pete Slate said that dyskinesia artwork you did recently was sick.
Thank you.
Wholeheartedly agree.
That was a fun one. And that was a weird one, too, because Dan Osborne from New Standard Lead, another dude who's amazing, known him for a long time, he hit me up. He said, hey, check out this band. And then Cody's like, hey, check out my stuff I just did. So they hit me up at the same time, asking for a logo. I'm like, oh, okay, this is kind of funny. So we did that real quick. And the cover, they just wanted some sort of psychotic monster, dude. My Say No More, we got this covered, and that was a fun one too, because like just something psychotic and weird.
Yeah,
and that was it. So that was another good one too. Yeah, New Standard Elite. There's another band label that love working with, because they have some amazing brutal death metal bands on there, and Dan has a really awesome work ethic of just like whatever the bands want, as long as it's got, you know, real drums, not that robotic stuff. Like you're all good to go, and I don't give a shit what's on the cover, and just keep cranking out cool shit. So that's always fun to work with him too, and all those bands.
hell yeah, that's awesome, man. I wanted to ask you what your influences are. I mean, I can see some of them, but I'd rather you talk about it and then have me guess. You know, yeah.
It's funny because someone just asked that Armored Foe. Oh yeah, Armored Foe is a great designer too. They asked the same thing. What's your influential cartoons? That's awesome. Yeah, I mean, as far as like art goes, again, I grew up in the '80s, so all that gross artwork, or even this like the weird, like when toys were really badass, like the Battle Beasts and all that kind of shit like that. I grew up with that stuff. So
yeah,
as far as art goes, it kind of spawned off of that. Ren and Stimpy for sure, Tom and Jerry, and then as soon as I got into death metal, it was like Vince Locke, Dan Seagrave. I mean, the list goes on. As far Ed Repka too, his early work. Anything. I always liked all that demo artwork that was like really shittily drawn.
yeah.
The artist made that maybe like the one piece they ever did. It didn't matter. It was fucking awesome. Like the Splatter Cadaver demo artwork is fucking fantastic. It's like marker colored. It's a guy I got it somewhere. I was actually listening to it the other day. It's awesome. It's just like super crude, but it's super gross.
Nice.
It's great. You know, like I love that type of stuff, and I don't know who the artist was that did it.
Yeah.
You know, and then you always have like artists like your peers, right? Like of course you, and then like Jeff Zorno's another one. Putrid, my boy Putrid. Riddick, of course. Matt Slime. I mean, there's a ton of them that you have this inner community of artists that you always like. Damn, that you always want to give them credit for, like, that's fucking great, dude. Like, this is amazing, all that kind of fun stuff. And then when you work with them in any kind of collaboration, like, that's even better. You know,
yeah,
like that's always the biggest accolade, to work with an artist you admire.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's definitely it's incredible to be able to like talk to people that I look up to too. Like, as I see these different artists, they're extremely influential in my work, and definitely, what's up, saying the Superbog? Thanks for joining us. Definitely, like, you know, I feel like there's so many different artists out there right now, and they're doing their own thing. Some people are doing certain things that are a little similar, but it's all very influential in the work that I'm making. And yeah, it's inspiring. Everything that's going on right now is super inspiring. So, yourself included, definitely. Thank you for
I appreciate that, man.
Yeah,
I appreciate that.
Yeah. Oh, Lucas is on too. What's up? Yeah, dude. This has been sick. Is there anything that you want to talk about? I don't want to like just, you know, this isn't just an interview. Like, I'm trying to get across to people that this isn't just
open
like
dialogue. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not like this rigid thing. Like, I want to like hang. Like, I'm thinking about going back upstairs and getting another fucking beer. Like,
that's, I got 4 by me. They're all empty now, which kind of sucks.
Yeah, I mean, like, let's take a trip to the fridge.
I can take a trip to the fridge. Fuck it, I'll go.
Yeah, fuck it. We're going to the fridge.
We're going to a fridge trip. You can see some of the toys.
Yeah.
Oh. It's all dark over here because it's too cheap to turn the lights on.
This is the beauty of doing this on a Friday with a little earlier than I was before band practice on Fridays. Like,
look at all that ham.
It was cutting kind of close. I was like starting things at like 6 o'clock and having to be out the door at like exactly 7 o'clock.
Oh, that sucks.
So it was. It definitely cut things short with the both Lucases, and I definitely want to have them back on so that I can like we can get past like the formalities and the like the simple. Yeah, what is it that this, that, and the other thing, and like talking so rigid back and forth. But like, my goal for this is to, you know, be more, this is the whole thing is to inspire people that want to do art, inspire me, make new friends, make new connections, entertain, and just,
that was my question for you, dude. Like you said, inspire, like what, like, not as far as artists go, but like, how do you, because all your stuff is, like you said, micro, like it's super not zoomed in, but there's so much fucking detail. And for me, it would take forever to do that kind of stuff. So my question to you is, like, how do you get inspired to just sit there and just do all those microcosmic details? Because fuck, I could never do that.
I mean, I don't really feel like, so I feel like, personally, I feel like I'm just scribbling. I'm like, yeah, that's what it looks like. It's general idea. Like, I feel like I'm not enveloped enough yet, and I'm getting more inspired, especially speaking to Lucas Court, like talking to him about, like, seeing things in biology classes and, like, really looking at, close-up pictures, like zoomed in pictures in like a vacuum of black space with like a spider's fucking leg with all the spiky hairs or something like that. Like, that's the kind of stuff that's just super fascinating that I want to do in my work more than I'm doing now. I mean, like, this is only the beginning of getting the weirdest that I can with art, and like just making like the Thing-esque creatures, but like in my own standard, like in my own way, you know what I mean? In my own little world of fungi and bugs and shit that
Did you watch that doc on Netflix, that fantastic fungi?
Yeah, I actually bought it before it was on Netflix.
I watched it the other day. It made me want to do a bunch of shrooms. That shit was fucking amazing.
So, yeah, I mean, I've done psilocybin a few times, and I've always had a really positive experience. Just very talkative. I want to be like, I'm very friendly and warm and like talkative, which is like it's a beautiful thing, man. It's such an incredible experience every time, and I've never taken like more than I feel like I can handle. But you have to stay in like such a positive state of mind when you're doing something like that. You don't want to psych yourself out and then be like tripping and just like feeling like you're dying. You know what I mean? Yeah. Where I've definitely done that before too. So like I've taken acid once and like just fucking freaked the fuck out. And I think I like to stay, with the earth on that one. Just things that are growing from the earth. But
if it comes from the ground, you're probably okay.
Right. And fungi, I will say, like, is just so fascinating because it's so alien. It's like,
it is.
It's just so profound to me that there are these organisms that like have their own system, their own way of connecting, and they're underneath everything, and they have like the ultimate coverage of the earth. Like, it's rightfully theirs. They've been here before us. Like,
long
that's
before,
the whole premise behind Bloodspore. Like, the idea that, these fucking monsters among us just wait. They lie dormant, and they could take it back anytime, man.
Yeah, that's awesome. Fungi is super fascinating. I mean, I didn't know about half the shit from that doc, but I always just visually, like, they were always really cool to me because the brown ones can kill you, the red ones can kill you, the white ones can help you, your stop cancer or whatever the fuck it is. All those medicinal properties are
definitely
super fascinating,
Yeah, it's such a fascinating like sect of life on Earth. Like, it's just mind-boggling. Just how many things fungi can do, to you, for you,
kill you,
with you. and it's definitely like, it's something that I think a lot of people can appreciate on a broad spectrum, no matter like if you're into death metal or whatever, or if you're into biology. Like, people on the surface appreciate mushrooms for their weird nature. They're like their connection to, you know, tripping or whatever, but like there's something to love about them. You can eat them, you can trip on them, you can be fucking awe-inspired by them, you can be fucking terrified of them. Like,
that's a lot of shit in nature though, man. Like a lot of people are afraid of spiders. Like I love spiders. I used to breed them at my old job. I got them tattooed on my leg. My wife hates spiders.
Yo, spiders are so cool, but like
they're fucking amazing. They have so much power to like. They've been around forever. They're massive hunters. Their
silk is super fucking strong. Like,
yeah, they're super strong. They scare
it's
the
like
fuck
stronger
out of
than
people.
steel or something like that. Yeah, it's fucking crazy. And just like, and it's not just like, I don't know. It makes sense that people like want to believe in a higher power sometimes, because like, it's just, nature is just so calculated and figured out, and like everything has its own purpose and like fits in these grooves to make things work, and it's just fascinating. I don't know.
Yeah. No, I agree, dude. I 100% agree.
Hell yeah. Does anyone else have any questions? Because we're just hanging out, man. It's Friday.
Scumlord says he loves doing shrooms. That's a good question. Yeah.
That's a good question.
It is. What have you been jamming lately as far as bands, man?
Oh, dude. I've got my little tape collection that I started recently.
Oh, you like tapes too, man? I don't know why people like tapes.
Dude,
that's for Aaron from
I didn't have a tape collection up until like a few months ago, and I still have to get a fucking tape player, but I'm just going to show you what I've been listening to on Bandcamp and that I plan to be able to listen to on tape. Because some of these, so like, I'm going to show off a little bit of some things that I've done art for that I've gotten like sent to me. So this is Severed Boy. Nice. This is a new project of Nicholas Wolf out of Massachusetts. And it's a 2-piece, and it's fucking sick. And they reached out to me to do the artwork for this. And then I like to be all-encompassing when I can. I try to make sure that people understand that I want to do their layout if I do their art.
That's nice. That's cool, man. I'm the opposite. I hate doing layout.
Dude, it's part of it's. I feel like because I want it to be like, I want to have a hand in like the whole production, because if I make some art for a band and then I just send it away and I let them do their thing with it, I'm afraid that like it won't like feel like I want to have my hand in all of it, because I want it to look as best as I can possibly represent this band with. You know,
want it to be a package deal, right? You have this cover, you want the layout to match the cover, logo, whatever that is. Yeah, no, I get you. I get you.
But I always work with the label and the band, make sure everybody's happy, on the same page. I have a good question. How do you prefer to keep, like, your back and forth? How do you prefer your back and forth with clients?
Oh, like as far as like the communication and on like sketch and stuff?
Yep.
I think it really depends on like the ask. I think some bands have a very specific idea in mind, and they'll write like a 30-page doctorate of what the fuck they want, which is fine.
So it's like an email?
It's a fucking email or something like that. Or sometimes, like Devin from the blog, he hit me up like an hour before this, like, hey, man, I want to do this one shirt. You in? Or one logo. I'm like, yeah, cool, let's do that. And that's it. I think it really depends on the ask. In all honesty.
Yeah.
I think where like the fun comes into play is when I have that really sloppy drunk sketch. It could be on paper, it could be digital, and then that's where we kind of talk more about the actual design and how their idea kind of fits with how I interpreted their idea. That's where like the really cool back and forth comes in.
Yeah.
And then it's just me executing based upon that conversation.
Right. I think so. For me, I like a huge part of my process with bands and commission work is back and forth and screenshots when I'm working on things and photos from my phone. So like, I'll be there every step of the way showing them my progress so that they see what I'm working on and get a little feedback if I feel like it's something that, you know, I'm not worried about them telling me like, completely start over.
Yep.
which really never happens, but like, it's always good to just check in and see, hey, is this the direction you want me to go with this, while I have like pencil laid out, you know what I mean? Or before I start inking, and like, I always want to stay on top of keeping back and forth. So anytime I have someone that commissions me, I tell them, I need a place to be able to back and forth with you. I don't care if it's Messenger or Instagram private or DM. I don't like either one of those works for me now. So that's the biggest thing, because email, I'm not that guy that's like okay to just be like, here's my progress, get back to me, and then like a day later I see like they say like, hey, I actually was thinking maybe you could like make that skull a different thing and
turn
like
it inside
make
out
this
and
more
put a
whatever. I need it right there, because I'm in the moment. Like I want to like try it, you know.
Well, I think that's the benefit of social media, whether it be Instagram or Facebook Messenger. Like, you can have that really instant dialogue with somebody, which is great. So it's an actual digital conversation.
Yeah.
I think I was frustrated when I first started out because it was email, right? Like, you have to wait 3 days. Like, where the fuck is this? I want to do this, you know? And some bands still communicate that. And I get it. I really do get it. But like those bands, I don't put pressure on myself to finish the work. I wait till they get back to me.
Yeah.
As opposed to, like, where the fuck are you? You know, like I just can't do that. It's just an aggression point that I don't want to raise up, you know? So I'll just do sketches, or I'll just take my time with it. And it's fine. Yeah. It's totally fine.
Yeah. Email is just like one of those things, man. I feel like it's starting to become like, email is only good for sending my finishes.
Yep.
High res, all the finished pieces, that's where email comes in.
Yeah, or even text. Like, I'm close enough with some bands where they text or they call, like, hey, I got this idea. Sure. Give me a shout. And that's fine too. Like, or if I'm close to them, like, I'll drive over. Like, if I gotta, talk with, Tom and crew from the Cardiac, I'll talk with them, or Aaron from Molder. Like, we'll come up with an idea at a show or some shit.
Nice.
That's always great too. So
hell yeah. Molder rules, by the way.
Molder's fucking fantastic.
They rule. You asked me earlier what I've been listening to lately.
Mm-hmm.
This fucking band is album of the year for me.
The fuck is that?
Ghost Cigar, Mother Russia, bringing the fucking hot fucking death metal. Fucking so sick, dude.
I like that logo.
Yeah, it's rad. Here's a close-up of it. I actually used it to inspire one of the logos I was working on recently.
Ooh, yeah, I did that. I like that a lot. I like natural looking logos.
It has like black metal, like branchy looking tendencies to it.
Yeah.
So like, yeah, like it's really interesting. The whole art of logos is fascinating to me. It's like you can learn something new about a logo, creating a logo every single day. You look at other people's executions of different, extremities and drippiness, and like all of these things have like a way of going about them that you just don't really think about on the surface. Yeah. Like, especially as just like a music fan, you might just be like, yeah, sick, whatever. But as an artist, you're like, how'd they do that? Okay, so that drip goes like that, but then that connects to that to make it look more slimy. And then, like, that is the kind of nerdy-ass shit that I've been doing lately. I spit in my hand the other day and just looked at it.
How can I make this cool
drip? Web, like, a fucking loogie, and I was like, oh, cool, I'm going to fucking feel that out. Like, that's the kind of shit that, like, you just... People don't talk about that, you know what I mean? You just see it. So, like, that's part of why I do this, because, like, I feel like I could have, like, talk about just logos for hours, because there's so many different kinds.
Logos are huge, dude. I mean, they're a mark for a band, I think a really cool book, and Mark Riddick, I'm going to, sell your stuff again, the Logos from Hell. He has those amazing books, Logos from Hell, where they have, I think he broke down like Nunslaughter and Absu's logo, and he went through like the different logos that they did and how they were ballsy enough to change their logo either per album or per shirt design. Or I always find that interesting when a band has the swagger to change their logo, like Iron Maiden or somebody like that. They can alter the logo just a bit, and like or Metallica, like with Master of Puppets, and then it evolved into whatever the fuck they're doing now. But like that to me is interesting that they've had so much like brand recognition that they could just like, fuck it, we're gonna change our logo.
Yeah.
Or like Eddie from Iron Maiden. He's different on every album cover, which is just insane to me. But he's still recognized as Eddie from Iron Maiden.
Yeah, you know, the funny thing is, like, someone said mascot the other day for a band, and I was like, that's so silly sounding. But Eddie is Iron Maiden's mascot.
He's the mascot. He's the mascot. It's weird to say, but yeah, he's like, you know, the mascot. It's bizarre.
Yeah, totally. But yeah, dude, like, so as far as like, oh, first of all, if we're gonna mention logos, a big part of my understanding of metal logos came from Christoph Spajdel, the Lord of Logos.
Yep.
So shout out to him. And the funny thing about Christoph, I think I told Lucas Ruggieri this last time we had our session. Christoph would send me art that he had scanned in, and he would have me digitize it for him because he didn't want to do it.
Yeah, he's old school.
Yeah, so he would just like have paper scans, and he had like a secretary or something. He had like someone that like did things for him on the computer.
Yeah, I kind of remember that. I had him do a logo for my old band Kaiju. It was like a one-off logo. We never used it. It was me on the sophomore album. We just never recorded. But yeah, he like was afraid or like didn't feel comfortable in the digital space. But now he like posts all the time on Facebook. But he's like sketching in a park.
Yep,
I've seen sketching in a park, which is great. He's a phenomenal like designer. But like, yeah, it's like a bunch of ducks and shit, and here's like a black metal logo with a bunch of trees and shit.
Yo, I've definitely seen like that exact same fucking photo.
No,
like,
more power
like, sitting on a bench with a fucking like outside of a cafe or something.
Yeah,
and it's always been it's always been really cool to see that people are able to do logos that are so symmetrical like that without using tracing paper and making sure that it's like exactly mirrored to get as like a base, like as a skeleton, because that's what I do. Like whenever I want to do like a black metal logo, like a style of symmetric to a certain extent on both sides to make sure that things are even. Tracing paper, fold it in half. I get my line art, and then I switch it over, and I transfer it by like I like put some graphite down, and I transfer it by running over those same lines, and then I have like a perfect mirror image, and then I can kind of branch out and do like different asymmetrical parts.
Yeah, that's how I did it way back before I had the iPad and stuff like that as a rubbing, you know, like tattoo artists, like the carbon copy and shit like that.
Yeah.
But as digital, I just mirrored over, but like I think someone did, Armored Foe asked the same question again, or a question that you were just talking about. Do I prefer symmetrical or asymmetrical? I'm always going to prefer asymmetrical, just because to me it looks more natural and organic for a death metal band or
really
a band, whatever it is. But like black metal, to me, and this is just my persona of it or my view of it. Black metal is symmetrical.
Yeah,
I think black metal has some of that regalness to it, where you want that like the symmetrical design, you know, and that's fine too. But there's some amazing asymmetrical logos. Was it Nocturnal Departure? I think that's a badass fucking logo, and it's completely fucking everywhere. You know,
Funeral Mist, black metal.
That's another one too.
Asymmetrical black metal logo.
That's another one. That's another one. Or like just fucking like Venom, like. It's just typography. That's it. It's so badass.
Yeah, and that's another thing. Like logos, like for metal, like you kind of can't go wrong just to start out with Old English font, and then like from there move around and do like weird things, pull things out, and like it's a fascinating art. Just logos in general, like it's just so interesting. Like I'm looking at all these logos here. And it's just here's a Christoph Spajdel logo that I did the all the layout for my friend's band Anti-Helix. I put all this stuff together on their tape with artwork by my friend Evan Void, aka Imperatus is what he's calling himself in this. So he might get, I don't know, he's not gonna see this. But I made like a weird frame around it too.
I'm a big fan of the black metal frames. I don't know why, but they just look really cool to me.
Yeah, it just looks sick. I made like a quick one that I didn't draw as much as I just kind of designed around an already made one. Like I pulled things out and I like drew on top of it.
Yeah.
And then I made this like nucleus. I don't know if it's going to show. I made this like weird drippy nucleus thing. It's kind of hard to see.
It's all right. I see what you're talking about. It's in the center. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that. I love that kind of shit. I'm a big fan of the, even though it's like super overdone, I really like the rasterized and the threshold photography of black metal. Just the whole aesthetic of it has always been super fascinating to me.
Yeah, it's definitely really cool.
Yeah.
Here's an example of, I think this is also Christoph Spagiel, another black
that looks like his
logo. Also, same guy, Evan Voigt. Artwork, incredible, very Dan Seagrave
it is rad.
inspired. He's an incredible tattoo artist. He makes some sick shit. And this is like in the vein of Bluthaus Nord. If you like Bluthaus Nord, very cool. But yeah, man. Seriously, like logos just differ so much lately. And here's a logo I made. That's like a black metal symmetrical logo.
Yeah, that's fucking rad. That's awesome.
Thanks. It's definitely very blurry. I can't like show it very close.
Yeah, but I can see it. That's fucking rad though. I like the see it, and again you have the sword and like the wings, like that to me is fucking so evil looking.
Yeah, like
you know,
they wanted like fucking evil fucking war weapons.
Nailed it.
Yeah, they definitely check out that. That's called Vortigern. They're on Nebula Eterna. They're a sick little label with a lot of black metal. And then and then Bloodspore, I was just like, I'm just gonna like make it look like I fucking gacked on a piece of paper.
I love that logo because it's just so fucked up looking. It's so organic. It matches the Bloodspore. It matches the fungus thing. So that's rad too.
Thanks, man. I really fucking like your style of logo. Like you touched on how much you like asymmetrical logos, and I love how drippy you make them. But like you can always tell. I feel like for me, like as an artist, I have like an eye for different people's logos, and you can always tell your logos over other ones. I think for me at least, like I can always see that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I appreciate it, dude. I think it took me a long time to kind of figure out my style of logos.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the one thing that's challenging for me as a creative is when you have to switch in between like genre styles. So like, again, I said like the Acid Witch, which is completely different than like a Bloodspore logo, right? So like sometimes I'll have to do both, which is great because you get that different style of artwork, but I think to kind of go back and forth between those is a little bit of a challenge. I think I sometimes get caught into, and this may be for any creative, to be honest with you, like the same type of band asking for a logo over and over, like, you know, 3 like grindcore bands or gore grind bands ask for a logo. They're all made different names, but like shit, this kind of looks like the one I just did.
Yeah.
Or like, you know, the letter, this E looks like the same E I just put on this one. So that's a little bit of a challenge just because I've been doing so many of them for so long. So sometimes like right now I'm not doing logos just because I want to take a break, and like sometimes I'll draw a logo with the left hand, so it's all fucked up looking instead of my right hand. Yeah. So
What's
it's not
an
the same.
example of one you've done with your left hand?
I think the dyskinesia when I started with my left hand.
Really?
Yeah. So like I'll do the lettering either backwards. Instead of writing like DY, I'll put like AAI, or like I'll write it backwards with my left hand, so it looks different.
That's
or
cool.
I'll do like
that's an awesome technique. I want to try that.
It's pretty. I mean, it's helped me a lot just to not do the same thing over and over again.
Yeah, I love.
The other one I do is I grew up knowing called the shape technique, where you close your eyes and you draw like a blob, and then I fit the logo in that blob. So it's always going to be different.
Oh, I love doing that. I love doing like random shapes on a page and then just like making artwork in that shape. Yeah. I need to do more of that for sure. and then
I
like
found those,
pull whatever references and put them in there.
Yeah, I found those super helpful, and it definitely breaks up the creative
monotony.
Yeah, exactly. The monotony.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Dude, Riddick just said Bloodsport logo looks like my wife's hair caught in the shower drain. And while you were talking,
That's 100%
like,
accurate. My wife has long hair too.
I was like grinning ear to ear. I was just like, fuck, smiling.
You succeeded in drawing Riddick's wife's hair in the drain. That's pretty.
Hell yeah.
I haven't done that, so
that's so funny.
Tap my hat to you, man.
Thanks, man. I honestly, like, I kind of stumbled upon that, like, stupidly, like, one of those, like, happy accident things, because I was doing it just scratch board, and, like, you could read it. You could see that it said Bloodsport, and I brought it into digital, and I was, like, trying different, like, ways of, like, outlining it, or, like, extracting the line and painting it, and different things, and I found a way to, like, sharpen the shit out of it and then bring out certain aspects of some parts of it and then like pull other pieces like to the background, and I was just like, that's trippy as fuck. Like so then I took all of it and I sharpened I merged them all together and I sharpened it all, and I was like, yep, that's gonna work.
but to me, like that type of logo, like the Bloodsport, where there's like a more illustration to it, like reminds me of the old, like the original Death logo, like Cam Lee did, where it had like the spider webs and Death and 666 in there, and then when he left or whatever, they cleaned it up. Chuck cleaned it up. But
right.
like, I like those
it's
more.
Still silly, but it's like such an iconic logo. Yeah. It's so funny to like really look at that logo though, because it's super silly. It's just like. Like, Death is such a sick band, and then you look at that, and it's like, if
it's
you
all
appreciate death metal or, like, Chuck Schuldner's work, like, you see that logo and you know, like, immediate fucking, like, respect, but, like, on the surface, if you're just, like, some person that doesn't know death metal and you look at that logo, you're like, it's silly. It is silly. Like,
it is. It looks like one of those, like, it looks like a logo you get in, like, it was, like, a shirt stand at, like, a carnival. You know, because it's so like just like that's like death, really, like that's not scary. But you actually sit back and look at the demos, you look at Scream Bloody Gore, like, you know what, that's pretty badass. That really fits with what they were trying to do.
Do you know who the logo artist was? Because it looks like he did it really young. Like it looks like
it was
person
Cam.
was. What's it?
I think it was Cam Lee. He did that. He did the Mantis logo.
Word. Okay, yeah.
I think he did Massacre's logo too, if I'm not mistaken. But Cam's got some chops as far as like artwork goes. He can drop.
Sure he does. Too. Yeah, like it's so funny because like you know how you like look back at old work and you're like, holy shit, like this is what I could have like changed.
Oh,
I
dude,
feel like,
yeah.
I feel like certain logos just like stay, like they're timeless, but like you can tell like people were making them like on a fucking in a trapper keeper.
Yeah, dude, like drawing them in math class.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Like
definitely.
that type of shit was that shit's fucking amazing to me. Is just, I don't know where Cam Lee was, what he was doing when he drew it, but like he was definitely young when he did it, and that's awesome. That's when you're like really passionate about it.
Timeless fucking logos, man. Like,
yep.
It's so cool. Yeah.
I know.
But yeah, like there's just there's so much creativity going on, especially in death metal right now. But there are a lot of artists that are doing like the same kind of thing, and I'm trying to stand out. Like it's always been a goal for me to like stand out from other artists. Yes, I'll be influenced by them. I'll be inspired, but like I never want to look like another artist. Like that's the biggest thing I want to avoid, you know?
Yeah.
And it's just kind of crazy to me that like some people just like straight up go for someone else's style, and like it all sort of like blends together in certain aspects. I'm not going to throw any names out or anything like that, obviously.
No, for sure.
Because there's art, like even these people that I'm like referencing right now, like there's incredible artwork by all of the people that I'm even like seeing that connection with, but it's just it's something that I've always wanted to avoid because there's too much there's too much to be able to pull from in life to just make the same thing that someone else is making.
Same shit over and over again. Yeah. I mean, I think, I had the two styles. I had like the cartoony, like Ren and Stimpy style, and then I have my traditional death metal stuff. And I've definitely gone away from more of that cartoony style, just because I just got bored of it real quick. But it was a style that everyone, like, when they saw, like, oh, that was Nev that did that, or, that type of stuff.
Right.
But it was really just growing up with Tom and Jerry and Ren and Stimpy that I just kind of ripped that shit off and just put it in the death metal universe.
Yeah.
And it was fun while it lasted, but like now I just don't want to do it. I want to just do that traditional death metal shit, even though it's been done 1,000 times before. Like, to me, it's fucking somewhat new, somewhat new. I didn't do it a whole lot in the middle of my career, but now I'm doing a fuck ton of it, which is awesome. So,
word.
I think a lot of artists can change their style at any time that they feel, because it's art, and art is growing. So, like, if you change your style to whatever, feel free to do it.
Yeah, totally. I think, like, there's something to be said for, like, I feel like my interest in death metal has, like, increased over the past few years. After wanting to start a death metal band, hearing different death metal bands, after coming out of, like, Doom and Sludge, and like, Bloodsport kicked all of that off, and then from there, like, just being exposed to so many different artists and musicians, and, like, all of this, like, it's just like a whole new thing.
Yeah.
So that's kind of why I started this new page, because I wanted to embrace that more than what I was doing in my old page, which had, like, things that kind of catered to, like, witchier stuff and, like, more nature that was, like, a little, like, less, it wasn't, like, gross. It was more like, it was just like showing my interest in nature, and like, kind of like making, like, ways to express, like, energy coming from things, which I still have a passion doing. Like, it has been a bit, but yeah, that's, like, one of those things where I think, like, over time people evolve, they change their interests, and there's nothing wrong with that. But I don't know, I do see certain people that are, like, I feel like trend, like following trends. Like, death metal is, like, a big thing right now, like, in underground metal. Like, there's been, like, this third wave just washing over people, and I definitely see, like, some people kind of, like, grasping at, like, these death metal straws and trying to like look the part and stuff. And it's like, I can't hate too hard, because I just got into things, like, over the past couple of years too. Like, I'm pretty new at things, but it is just, like, something you notice. Like, I try not to, like, feel like I'm just, like, biting onto this, like, wagon and fucking following it. But
I mean, that's kind of anything and everything, right? Like, death metal, the genres of death metal or black metal, whatever kind of metal, we'll just say metal in general, comes in waves. You have, like, the thrash from, like, the 80s. You have the death metal in the early 90s. You have like the slam metal. You have all sorts of shit. It kind of comes in waves, Like, right now you're seeing this, like, down-tuned, sludgy, caveman death metal, like, becoming really popular, which is fine, which is great. There's some amazing bands on there. Yeah. And just like artists, some of them are just taking riffs from each other, and it sounds like the same shit, just with a different logo. Yeah. And that's fine. Like, they can do that. Yeah. If that's their creative outlet, that's amazing that they can do that. Get signed to a label, that's even better. More props to you. Sure. I think it's really hard. It's still hard to get signed.
Oh,
even
absolutely.
Though there's so much shit, or not shit. I'm sorry, that's not a bad word, but so much labels and bands out there. It's still difficult to get signed, or difficult to get.
You got to commemorate people to a certain extent. Like, you got to respect that they're out there doing something. They're out there doing it, but then, as if you're like getting more critical in the past the first layers of the onion,
Yeah.
then you start to go, okay, well, the riffs are pretty fucking similar, and
Yeah.
that's
Yeah,
why
exactly.
you know, like the ones that stand out are like special. They're like,
Yeah.
you know, things like resonate more. So
Right. I think when I first, like, when I was still like being a creative in the metal space, death metal space, in the middle, maybe early in my career, I was super judgmental too. I was an asshole, like, oh, this band sucks or blah blah blah. But as I like, I don't want to say mature because I'm definitely not fucking mature. But as I like grew, I guess,
sure,
I was more like not an asshole. I was super more open to, like, you know what, these guys are doing the same shit I'm doing. They're just
right?
doing with instruments, and I'm doing with a pen and paper.
Yeah,
Let them
yeah,
have their fucking fun. Like,
exactly.
why am I an asshole to judge them, even if it sounds like somebody else? Fuck it, they're good dudes. Let them do whatever the fuck they
Yeah,
want.
sure.
Like, I'm not the god of metal or anybody else who like judges people
Yeah,
because their band
the
sucks. Whatever.
gatekeepers. Yeah,
Shit's too short, dude. Just let them have their fun and
yeah,
fucking
exactly.
go.
Yeah, I mean, like, don't go to their shows if you don't like their music that much. Like,
Yeah, it's, you don't gotta fucking shit talk about. I mean, unless there's some bands I josh because they're just terrible, but that's just me
yeah,
being a
sure.
dick.
I mean, there's
But
different genres. There. Okay, so I wanted to talk to you about that too. Are like, and I'm not trying to have you call out anybody or even call out certain genres, but there are genres that I don't want to represent. And
sure,
like, what's your practice in like? So I was telling, I think it was Lucas Court of Shaga that I have to have like music to listen to before I agree to work with anybody. Because at this point, I don't care if it's on your fucking phone and you recorded it like, you know, last night and it's like shitty quality. I just want to hear music. And if it's something I can like get into, then I will make it. But I don't have the time to just take on whatever comes to me, you know?
yeah. No,
I'm just curious if that's the case with you.
that's a pretty good filter. I don't ask for a band's, like, if they have tunes, great, send them on over. I think again, as I kind of grew in my like creative space, there hasn't been a genre that I've never, like, I said I don't want to do that. But as I got older, like the more like the overtly sexual like gore grind, I kind of swayed away from, even though I kind of cut my tooth on that shit. It's just, I'm 40. It got old real fast.
Yeah, I mean, it's
if anyone wants to do
slope.
it, great. I just don't want to do it anymore.
Totally.
But like genres, I would say that I don't listen to is like probably Degent or whatever the fuck they call that. Stuff like
Meshuggah, like,
and they may be great dudes, but like not for me, man. Just not for me. And I would do their art in a heartbeat, but I wouldn't listen to it.
Yeah, that's funny. Like, I never really think about Degent as like an actual genre. I just think of Meshuggah.
It wasn't until they came out and broke up or whatever, and then all the deathcore people, which there's some great deathcore, but like they all of a sudden started doing Degent and bass drops, and it's like, this is a Meshuggah song.
Okay. Yeah,
but with like Devourment vocals.
Yeah, I guess like I know what you mean. I guess like Meshuggah is a different thing, like a different brand of Degent that like other people are using. I don't like metalcore and I don't like deathcore. It's just like there's just something about it that just like doesn't resonate with me. It doesn't tickle my fancy. I'm into like the gross fucking stomp in a fucking pit or go home kind of shit. You know what I mean?
And that's funny too, because like I grew up in the sticks, so I had a lot of religious friends, even though I'm not religious at all. So I was exposed to a lot of like Christian metalcore, just metalcore in general back in the day. So like a lot of the 90s metalcore, like Snapcase and Dead Guy and stuff, which I still listen to this day, that stuff is really raw. Like Snapcase and Dead Guy, like even if it's not gross, like I would definitely check them out because you could hear the emotion and just the fucking anger on those tracks and on the riffs, and they're just as visceral, you know. But like I like Zayo, and Zayo's like a metalcore band, but there's some stuff that I don't really like pigeonhole myself to listen to one specific genre.
Right.
There's some genres I don't listen to because it doesn't attach to me, but I try to be kind of open-minded a little bit, just because I think if you have these guardrails, it kind of it limits you on your creativeness, right? So like if I'm only going to do death metal, like I'm not going to see other stuff that may influence my death metal artwork.
Sure.
You know?
Yeah.
So I try to be as open-minded, especially as I got older, as much as possible.
Yeah. I particularly felt like I was falling into a category I didn't ask to be like representing. When I first started with my older Instagram, I was just kind of taking on work as it went, you know, and like I was in a band that like had like stonery qualities, like different like stonery tendencies.
Yeah.
And I found myself like supporting like sludgy stonery bands every once in a while, and then like, and there are people that like super embrace that, you know, like Brian Mercer, David DeAndrea, what's his name? It's another David. I can't remember. He's like David Seymour, like all of these artists that are out there doing like stuff for like stonery bands. But stoner bands would hit me up, and like I think I worked for like one or something, and then I was just like so not trying to represent that like genre, just because like it didn't resonate with me. Like I didn't feel like I liked that kind of music to a point where I wanted to like be like that artist for that kind of genre.
Dude, I totally get that, and the fact that you cut that right away is huge. I didn't catch it on until later, but that's huge that you caught that early, because I definitely don't want to be. I don't think anyone should be like the guy to do the art for this genre.
Yeah,
if they want to, great, but like that's not for me,
right?
And it's obviously not for you either. So that's huge on your part.
So basically, that's another reason why I make sure to filter. Well, no, that was the reason that we talked about first, because I filter, why I filter commission work like that, because
that's smart. I never thought
and then the other thing is, like, I only have so much time in a day, and I already get overwhelmed with the work that I do get commissioned for, because it takes me probably longer than other artists to like really squeeze the creative juices. And like when I get a commission and I actually listen to the music and I'm like, all right, cool, I'm into it. Like it gives me a sense of understanding that they are more serious than a band that's like, can you make a logo for my new band? Yeah, cool, whatever. Like I've done that before, and I sent it to them and worked on that and spent time and hours and doing things that I would otherwise maybe make money on something else or whatever, and send it to them and have that whole chunk of time lost from my life, and then nothing happens and they don't make a band out of it, or you know what I mean?
Had that happen quite a bit.
I have to have music. I have to want to represent it, and I have to like know that like they got some shit brewing, and then I'm down.
Yeah, no, that's a good call, dude. I've had that happen many times where, like, I'll do this amazing logo or amazing cover or shirt, whatever.
Yeah.
And they break up, or the lead singer's girlfriend stole it for drugs, or whatever the fuck stupid excuse they have, they just fizzle. It's like, that sucks. That's 6 hours of my life I'm not going to get back, and no one's going to see it, but I got paid, kind of. So
and you still really don't even know at the point, like, even after listening to recordings in a practice space, you still don't know if they're going to be a band and
do anything with it,
whatever. But it's happened to me like too many times where people are just like, started a band, we got everyone together, we had practice yesterday, now we're here to fucking get a cool logo, we love your style, and it's like, that's really cool, man, but if you don't have any music for me to listen to, like, I'm not taking that time out of my life to make something for you, because I can't put my stock in that. Like, that's just not something I'm not cranking shit out that fast. Like, it just doesn't, like, I need more time. Like, so it has to be worth it.
No, dude, that's a great way to do it. I never did it. I just did whoever the fuck asked for artwork. And I'm sure if I had that lens, I'd probably be better off as far as the creative juices. I probably should feel free to take
that page from my book there.
Moving on. If you don't have a fucking track, I'm not doing your shit. Yeah.
Show me your fucking shitty band recordings. I don't care. Just show me something. so I can like dig it or not, you know?
Yeah.
Because it's not fun having a conversation with a band that's like, yo, I really love your style. It's like the fucking coolest shit. We really feel like it would be perfect for you to represent us. And then I listen to it and it's like,
yeah,
it's just like,
not for me. Yeah.
And then I'm just like, hey, I'm just gonna be honest. Like, I got a lot going on, and like this doesn't really feel like my fit. Like it doesn't fit, you know.
No, I've been in that space too. Like, you know, like if some band comes up for a logo, like, hey, our band is whatever the fuck, and okay, like what's your music genre? What do you, not what you stand for, but like what bands are you influenced by? And if it's a bunch of bands I don't give a shit about or I don't like, it's like, good luck to you. It's not my thing. It is what it is. Exactly. Sometimes bands are like, cool, no worries. Some bands are like, fuck you, you're a loser. I'm like, okay, block, whatever. Like, I don't need this shit.
Right,
you know?
Exactly. Like, no one needs that. As artists, like, our time is fucking valuable. Like, it's just not worth extra. Yeah. And then on top of that, if you're representing a band that you don't even want to, like, care, like, that you don't want to be associated with, like, you're gonna be pulling more people toward you that you don't want to work with. Like, why would you do that?
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? And if you're okay to just make whatever for everybody, then great. You're a free-loving person. That's just, I'm not trying to, like, do that. I don't have enough time. Yeah. And I just don't want to support certain music. I don't fucking care.
That's fair too. Like, if you don't want to support whatever the fuck, then don't support it. That's
yeah. I'm just like, I'm not gonna make something for like a metalcore band. It's just not gonna happen. I'm never gonna make like, I'm not gonna make music for like stoner bands. It's just, I mean, it depends, because like I have some friends that do some projects that like I can make an exception for every once in a while, but then even then it's a gamble, because putting that stuff out there, you know, whoever they're making, you know, music with, like, they might reach out to you and be like, hey, saw the thing you did with this, and like, you should do, and then you're just like in that, I don't want it. You know, I can't.
I think you said metalcore. I think that's the only genre of metal I've never done work for.
Well, congratulations.
Is metalcore. I can't think of anybody.
Yeah, it's, I mean,
everything else I've done, from fucking depressive black metal to power metal, I've done it all. I think that's the one genre I haven't done, which is weird.
Well, I mean, it's never too late.
It's never too late, man. Maybe tomorrow I'll get hit up by like Unearth or something.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I feel like, man, I can't even remember what I was saying, but like, yeah, it's one of those things where it's too much out of my life to devote to things that don't matter to me. Like,
it's fair, dude. Like, again, not to get philosophical, but life's short. Like, you shouldn't have to do something you don't want to do, especially as a creative. Like, if you want to be selective, be selective. And I think bands should be respectful of that and shouldn't take offense to it. Like, hey, I don't want to do your art for your band, but like, good luck in whatever you do. Hope to see you on Warped Tour or whatever the fuck. But like, I just don't want to do it. And that's okay too. I think this whole like black and white of death metal and this black and white of creative it's going away. I think it's definitely more gray area, and
which is a good thing. It should be,
it's good.
You know, it shouldn't be like like that staunchly gated off, but you know, I think that there's lines that I draw, and I think that's, you know, I think every artist should have those lines, because it'll save them in the long run.
Absolutely. 100%.
Yeah, man, this has been really fucking awesome. I'm really glad that you were able to do this. I think we could probably wrap it up if that's all right with you.
Yeah, dude, this has been great. And in all honesty, I think this is like the second interview I've done in my career, so this is pretty rad. I appreciate the time, and I appreciate everybody kind of asking questions and joining in.
Definitely.
But yeah, this was awesome, dude.
Yeah, thank you so much for being a part of it. Like, it's been cool getting to know you a little bit. If I ever come out around where you said you're an hour away from Chicago?
Yeah, I'm an hour north of Chicago, not too far from Wisconsin, not too far from Chicago. So it's a weird, weird dynamic. But yeah, if you're ever out here,
Yeah,
if I'm
I've been
ever out
out
where you're
there.
at.
Frank's nuclear whatever plant.
That's south though, right?
Yeah, in Wisconsin,
Okay.
with the Northless dudes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, do you know Eric Strangline?
No.
Northless?
Sounds familiar, but I don't think so. Is
Yeah,
he in a band?
he's a good dude. They have a fucking sick, like, sludgy, just super, like, down-tuned, like, I don't know if you ever heard, like, Kowloon Walled City. They're in the vein of that.
Okay.
I really dig that kind of stuff. That just, like, smarmy. It's almost like noise rock mixed with sludge.
Yeah.
But, like doomier, too. Yeah, Northless is sick. But yeah, man, if I'm out there, I would love to come out and say, hey, if I'm ever coming out to Chicago, maybe if there's like a cool show, I would love to buy you a beer and hang,
Yeah, no, that'd be awesome, man. I mean, like I said earlier in the beginning of this, Chicago's like a hub of death metal fest. I'm sure there'll be one once all this bullshit settles down. So if Bloodsport plays or you're coming out to see a band, like, yeah, let's grab a couple beers and shoot the shit more.
Hell yeah, man. Yeah, this has been great, though. Thank you so much, man.
Yeah, dude, I appreciate it. And again, thanks everybody for chiming in and asking questions.
Hell yeah. I don't know how long this went, but this has been great. Is there anything else you want to add, like, before we get off?
No, that's it, dude. Super fun. Awesome way to end start a Friday. I'm going to keep drinking.
Yeah.
Go hang out with my wife and burn some stuff, so.
Nice. Well, cool, man. Cheers to you. And thank you again. And
Cheers,
I'll post this up. As far as the next week's guest, I'm still kind of trying to work out who that's going to be. I'll be announcing that probably no later than Monday so that people know when, what time and who will be doing things. I think I'm going to probably do another earlier one because this has worked out where I'm just like not stressing about cutting things short because I feel like after the first half hour of us talking, like we really got into like some good shit,
Yeah, more conversation based. Yeah.
Right.
And I think that was beneficial too to have it early, man. But
yeah,
whatever.
And just getting a little deeper with these, just getting a little more loose.
Yeah, I got a couple of these empties I got to take care of.
Yeah, I think that's going to be important as I go forward.
Absolutely.
Get a little more loose with people and give it that time.
Yeah.
But hopefully people stay engaged listening. I don't want them to I don't want it to drag on for 2 hours.
For too long. Yeah, exactly. And it's just nonsense and drunken nonsense. Yeah.
Right. So that said, thank you everybody for joining and watching and checking it out. And whoever's going to watch in the future after I post it, really appreciate it. Let's keep this going. I don't have a Patreon to plug or a thing to tell you to support or anything. I just think it's cool to do this. And if you dig it, keep watching because it feels like it just makes it feel like it's actually worth something other than just me being the new person talking about art. So,
there's not a lot of stuff out there for death metal artists. I think there's 2 websites other than themselves. So this and the start of this is super exciting for me to get to get to know a little bit of the stuff or the people that I find fascinating and interesting. So keep doing it, man. This is awesome.
Hell yeah. Thanks, man. I appreciate that. I'm hoping that it'll get to a point where maybe I can make it like a YouTube thing or I don't know. I don't know what can come of this, but this is a different facet of things for me because I feel like I'm a bit of an entertainer. I like to be a goofball, but this is me in a more grounded, serious sense. I have things to talk about instead of just going off the cuff. But I don't know. Maybe I'll do something with YouTube or I don't know yet. But
that'd be awesome.
People are checking it out. So
yeah, keep at it, man.
Hell yeah. You have a good fucking Friday, my friend. And
You
thank
too,
you
dude.
so much again for joining and doing
Yep.
this. And I'll see you on the Instagram.
Yep. Thanks again, man. I appreciate it.
All right. Cheers.
Later, man.
Later. Everybody else, take it easy. Thank you so much for watching. Really appreciate it. I'm going to go ahead and save this and post it, and really appreciate all the interaction. This has been a good one. This has been like, we've gotten past the formalities. We've gotten past like the rigidness of an interview and more into like, just like a down-to-earth conversation between two artists about getting weird and nerdy about art, like looking at different things in logos and different aspects of, you know, how you go about making certain things look the way they look. And I think I'm gonna, like, as I go and I talk to other artists, I'm gonna get deeper into that. So keep watching, because I think it's gonna turn into something pretty cool. Thank you again. Cheers. Love y'all. And I will announce the next guest probably Monday. All right. Peace.